Chris Whitney, Whitney, 20 Oak Crest, and my wife, Liz. We would like to read a copy of a letter that we sent to the commission on Saturday via regular mail and email. I have additional copies if you don't have it.
Go ahead.
You have it?
We have copies of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
We are Chris and Liz Whitney, and we are writing in regards to the proposed development at 26 Oak Crest. We live at 20 Oak Crest, which is 3 doors down from the applicant's property. We have lived in Darien for 8 years and on Oak Crest for over 5 years. We have 3 children. Our oldest child, George, is 7 years old, and he is mentally retarded. Like the other kids who live on Oak Crest, George likes to play outside in the street on nice days. Unlike the other kids on Oak Crest, George does not know how to stay out of the way of cars. George does not speak, and he does not understand most verbal commands. He does not and cannot follow parental directions. He has no idea when a car is coming and has no idea that he is in danger when a car approaches him. In fact, he is just as liable to veer in front of an approaching car as he is to avoid it. One typical behavior when we or another adult attempts to restrain him in front of an approaching car is to fall on the ground and begin to bang his head against the ground. This obviously makes the situation worse, as we now have to take action to prevent him from harming himself in addition to dealing with the threat from the car. We do not think it is fair to George to lock him in the house when every other kid on Oak Crest is playing outside in the street. He loves the simple pleasures offered on Oak Crest, such as walking along the road, popping into neighbors' yards, enjoying the sun, trees, leaves, and grass. George appreciates the physical beauty of Oak Crest in a way that is so easy for the rest of us to take for granted. Obviously, we monitor George very closely, but anyone who has any experience with George knows that it is impossible to keep him out of the street and approaching cars with 100% certainty. The fact that George has the physical abilities of a 7-year-old boy, but cannot and will not follow parental instructions, also presents certain challenges. In spite of our best efforts to lock every door and put child locks on every doorknob, George occasionally slips out of the house unannounced. He doesn't ask permission. He doesn't tell us he's going. He just goes. Since we check on him frequently, we usually notice pretty quickly that he's gone, but it doesn't take long for George to walk from our house to the street. We live towards the end of the street on Oak Crest. In fact, there are only 4 houses, including the applicant's, between our house and the end of the street. This limits the traffic crossing in front of our house and is one of the primary reasons we decided to buy this house on Oak Crest. If approved, the applicant's proposal will increase the traffic traveling in front of our house by a factor of more than 3. That is more than 3 times as many cars driving by, 3 times more delivery trucks, 3 times more garbage trucks, not to mention the construction vehicles driving up and down the street during construction of this project. Given the likelihood of George being struck by one of these vehicles, our family would probably be forced to move if this project is approved. But where in Darien are we supposed to move to? If a 10-unit condominium can be built on a 1-acre lot at the end of a quiet cul-de-sac, what is safe? Where are the families with children like George supposed to live? Being the parents of a retarded child affects our choice of housing location in ways that may not be obvious to most people. For example, we cannot live close to anyone who has a pool for fear that George may wander into their yard, jump into their pool, and drown. We cannot live close to any busy cross streets for fear that George may walk into a busy street without warning. Darien spends thousands of dollars providing a special education for George, for which we are eternally grateful. We think it would be awfully ironic if, after investing a great deal of money in George's education, the town would then turn a blind eye to such an obvious threat to his physical safety by allowing this development. We support the goal of providing affordable housing in Darien, but there must be a better place than at the end of a residential cul-de-sac street filled with families with young children. While the town has an obligation to allow for the development of appropriate affordable housing in Darien, we believe the town also has a moral and legal obligation to protect its most vulnerable citizens, including our son, George. We urge you to stand up for George and the other children of Oak Crest and reject this reckless and irresponsible application. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to be heard on this application?